All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm refreshing the page because it says new chapters coming in half an hour, so it should be out right now. But I feel like it's a couple. I feel like Viz may be slow on updating to give us chapter 1062. Yo, everyone, time for some One Piece. Good to see you, Kohagen. Next chapter will be on time. I'm just refreshing the page on Viz until I see it. But let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yes! Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another One Piece chapter reaction and review. As I said, we're waiting on the page itself to load up, but I just wanted to say I'm happy. I'm very happy. Not that something big and monumental has happened, but I'm just happy to be doing what I'm doing here. And I can't thank you guys enough for, tuning in and even telling other people about me to help this channel grow. Because trust me, that really does help. But I just want to say that it's such an honor and a privilege to do this. To do this and entertain you guys. Yeah, okay, so Kohagen, you said that it's already up on Manga Plus, and Viz is still running behind. Let me refresh the page for My Hero. Yeah, there's nothing on My Hero, and Jujutsu Kaisen's chapter is supposed to come out today as well, so I gotta do reactions to those as well. And I also have to do a reaction to the return of Bleach. Bleach is returning today, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't it a happy occasion? I know it seems like I'm padding for time, but Kohagen, you says it's already up on Manga Plus. And I'm part of me wants to hold out hope that things will be updated the moment I hit refresh, but it's just not there. Wow, Viz must be running behind. It says new chapter coming in half an hour, but we all know that it should be up right now. We all knew. But it's not here, so let's just pull up Manga Plus. You ain't about to make my job hard today. Flip this around. 162. All right, there it is. Chapter 1062. I'm going to refresh Viz one more again. See if they caught up. They did. They did. As soon as I was about to pull up Manga Plus, we was all like, wait, Viz was all like, wait. We got it. Please come back. But it's here. Let's get started. And we're not going on break. We got a new chapter in the next 6 days. Let's get started. A little bit of a recap of where we left out on. We've arrived at Vegapunk's main laboratory on the island called Egghead. Jewelry Bonnie is separated with Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei, while the rest of the Straw Hat crew were picked up by a ginormous robot being piloted by a woman calling herself Dr. Vegapunk. So now we get to see what happens next. Chapter 1062, Adventure in the Land of Science. Germa 66's An Emotionless Excursion, Volume 20. Meanwhile, in Chocolate Town, Kako Island, apparently Chocolate Town has been frozen? Or is it melting? Is Chocolate Town melting? I think it's melting. I think Chocolate Town is melting. And this doesn't look like the work of the Vinsmoke siblings. Maybe it's the two individuals that we saw silhouetted that were heading to Chocolate Town. Not the German siblings that went to go get Niji and Yonji and faced off against Oven and Katakuri. What happened in Chocolate Town? Why is it melting? Okay, let's get going. And then Frankie is screaming out, Vegapunk? You mean the Vegapunk? And then I guess Vegapunk goes, oh, put a sock in it. And then Frankie's losing his mind going, Vegapunk, hey, I really respect your work. I spent 2 years at the lab in your hometown, Baltimore. That's the place it was called. I got so many things to show off to you. And then it cuts to Usopp going, a giant robot of dreams. And then Usopp goes, how many dozen times bigger than the General Frankie is it? I wish Luffy and Chopper could see this. And then Sanji's losing his mind going, a babe? Vegapunk's a total babe. And then Vegapunk really doesn't say anything as she's standing in the cockpit. And then Robin says, wait, I had never heard that Vegapunk was a woman, and her appearance doesn't add up based on Vegapunk's long history of activity. I knew it! 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 Vegapunk says, of course it doesn't. I'm obviously not the Stella. That's the main body. I am Punk 02. Vegapunk Lilith, the evil. What? Oh, it's not the main body. It's not the main body. This is not the real Vegapunk. I knew it wasn't the real Vegapunk. A lot of us knew it, but to get confirmation. Of course it doesn't. I'm obviously not the Stella. That's the main body. I am Punk 02, Vegapunk Lilith, the evil. And my research budget is constantly stretched to the seams. So hand over your valuables. After that, I'm done with you. And then Nami goes, what are you talking about on this frigid sea? If you're going to scoop us up out of the water, at least see it through and save us. I did not save you, goes Vegapunk Lilith. Her name is Vegapunk Lilith. Vegapunk Lilith, not the main body. What do you mean, not the main body? I did not save you. These waters are normally unreachable by ships. These things ensure they all get sunk. And she says these things as something starts to appear underwater underneath them. And it's the Sea Beast weapons. Wow. So you mean to tell me that the shark wasn't the only thing? There are Sea King-like mechanical animals that are just underwater. One looks like a big old tanuki, a giraffe, a reindeer, a wolf, a bull, a lion, and a bear, and they're all cybernetic as they surround Lilith and the rest of the Straw Hats. And mind you, these Sea Beast weapons are bigger than the robot that Lilith is piloting. I'm going to call her Lilith from now on. Ah! Monsters! Goes Usopp, and then Frankie goes, Sea Beast weapons? They're incredible! This time the fear's winning out! And then one of the creatures is looking down at Zoro. And, one of the creatures looking down, and Zoro looks at it. The lion is looking down, and Brook and Nami are losing their minds. And then a call comes in on Lilith as someone goes, Lilith, what are you doing? I don't even know who this is. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Plundering again? Have you no scientist pride? Shut up, Shaka, you do-gooder. Will pride increase our budget? First of all, they are not going to surrender. That's the crew of Straw Hat, the one who just got made Emperor of the Sea. I know, right? They must be laden with treasure. In that case, you've made a terrible mistake. Mistake? They're thoroughly surrounded. They have no escape. You've underestimated them. Look at the swordsmen on board. Wow. What is going... Wow. And then Lilith looks down, and then Zoro's standing there prepared to fight. That's pirate hunter Zoro, worth a bounty of 1.111 billion berries. The reason he's calmly hanging back is because he knows he can slaughter you in an instant from that range. And then Lilith is all like, oh crap. And then Zoro is just standing there with his hand on Enma. Specifically Enma. The same goes for the demon child behind him, Nico Robin. And then this surprises Lilith as she says, but what would they do about the Sea Beast weapons around them? The mighty always determine the first foe they should strike down. You ought to think harder. So the talkative jokers are just a distraction? I didn't pay close enough attention. And then Zoro goes, hey, Vegapunk, we've got some demands and you're gonna listen. Got that. And then we get someone that it says, that's fine, bring them here. I happen to have an interest in that crew. Punk number 1, Dr. Vegapunk Shaka the Good. What are these names? What are these names? What are these names? Also, family just came. No, I gotta continue. But also, family came in with groceries and I gotta help them out. The dichotomy of good and evil. Let me continue just a little bit. That's fine. Bring them here. I happen to have an interest in that crew. And then it cuts to Luffy with Jewelry Bonnie. You said you've been here before? When I was a kid, it was a normal lab back then. And what did you come back here for? Depending on his answer, Vegapunk will have to die for his crimes. Whoa! Vegapunk turned my father into a cyborg and... What? That's so cool! No! Oh my goodness! Ow! Yo! What is she saying right now? Vegapunk turned my father into a cyborg and... What? That's so cool, though! And she goes, at this point, he's lost his sense of humanity. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. He's been turned into a pure, unthinking, living weapon. And it shows the face of Bartholomew Kuma. Kuma is Bonnie's dad? And she's tearing up as she's thinking about him. I think we know the relation between Jewelry Bonnie and Bartholomew Kuma. Bartholomew. Why do I keep saying Moo? Bartholomew. She's his daughter. Oh my goodness. What you mean? At this point, he's lost his sense of humanity. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. He's been turned into a pure, unthinking, living weapon. And then Jinbei goes, that's a terrible thing to suffer. Yes, Vegapunk must pay the price. Sorry about that, Boggy. Bonnie! And then he goes, Bonnie! And then it cuts to Chopper and everyone else dropping down to a new room. And Chopper goes, we're on the surface again! And then Luffy's running around and his eyes are sparkling as he goes, let's go and find some food. Whoa! As he gets excited, then Jewelry and then Bonnie goes, oh right, I met Sabo in Marijois. I don't need to bring that up now. Bonnie met Sabo. Bonnie, how do you just casually say that? Bonnie met Sabo at Marijois. She just casually drops that she just met with Sabo. Okay? You just casually met with the guy? And then be like, oh, I probably shouldn't bring that up right now. What? And then they cut to a room that is just basically a big, giant, futuristic room. Wow, what is this place? A giant robot? Everything's flying! And it looks like what would happen if Disney had no budget. And they just turned their, what is it? Not Epcot Center. Whichever is their futuristic attraction. It looks like one big massive area full of futuristic things just everywhere. Think of the Jetsons, actually. That looks more Jetsons-like than anything else. All right, I'm back. Just got my breakfast, and they forgot my hash browns, so mom had to double back and get some fries. But they're in like this big futuristic Jetson-looking area. Wow, what is this place? A giant robot? Everything's flying. That I almost gave Luffy an Usopp voice. Everything's flying, and a space monster. And then Jinbei's going, what in the world? And then Luffy's going, I'm gonna go for a ride. And then Bonnie goes, hey, we're intruders, remember? Be careful, Luffy. Gum, rocket! And he just goes shooting up towards this one creature that's breathing fire out of its mouth. And then it looks at Luffy and then just chomps on him. And then everyone is, Bonnie and Chopper are shocked as he goes, ah, Luffy got eaten! And then it shows Luffy shooting out from behind the creature somehow as he hits like a pillar in the back. What? And then he drops down to the ground and Jinbei goes, hey, are you okay? And then Luffy goes, what the? I swore I got swallowed. And then Bonnie looks over and goes, look, a giant parfait! Cookies, fruit, heaps of whipped cream! And then both Bonnie and Luffy leap towards the parfait. And they try to... I know what this is. Yo, I know what this is. Let's eat, goes Luffy. And then Jinbei goes, now hold on just a minute. No one's just going to leave out delicious treats for you. It's clearly some kind of trap. And they go right through it. It's holograms. Everything in this room is holograms. They're holograms. And they all, Chopper, Bonnie, and Luffy all topple straight through this hologram. And Luffy looks confused, Bonnie looks surprised, and Chopper looks mad upset that he ain't getting none of that parfait. And then Jinbei's looking on as he sees them all trying to grab it, but they can't. What? You passed right through it! It's there, but I can't grab it. And then Chopper's going like, arr, 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 and he's trying to bite on it. This just makes me hungrier! And then it cuts to Luffy as he goes, did we die at some point? Because he thinks that this is a curse. Like, I can't eat this food in front of me. Are we dead? And Luffy and Jinbei goes, no, we're not ghosts. This parfait is a hologram, I think. I've never seen one in person. What? Someone's gotta pay! And it shows Luffy getting so mad that his gear 4, his almost gear, I want to say his gear 5 state kind of emanates from him. Like a wisp of clouds is around him and his hair is on fire. It's like he goes into his gear 5 state for the comedic effect. And then Bonnie goes, it's a 3-dimensional image made with light. We're talking about something out of a comic strip or a fantasy world. An image! And Luffy's getting even more upset. The space monster! That's why I slipped through it. The giant robot is probably the same. No one could actually make such a thing. And then Chopper goes, hey, what's this? Hey, what's this? There's pictures of food and buttons on it. Don't bother, everything here is lies. You know, I just noticed something. The sea was cold here, and yet this is a tropical place, although it is indeed a winter island. And then a big robot walks up. One that has, like, different colored hair. And she says, thanks to the island AC I created, we can control the temperature of the island itself. And then Luffy goes, that thing's as big as Kaido! You're one of those hollows too, huh? And then he tries to punch her. And it doesn't do anything. And he goes, huh? Eat this, you jerk! And then the robot punches Luffy back into that panel that Chopper was talking about. And he hits a button, and then food starts. Yo, they have, you know, anyone else grew up and they see good food on TV and you thought, I wish I could just put my hand in there and take that food out and then eat it. Whatever this machine is, it's making an entire double quarter pounder with cheese meal. but it's Vegapunk themed because it has Vega Cola. This must be Vega Fries and Vega Burger. It's a Vega Burger, not a Mega Burger. It's a Vega Burger. And it drops down, and then Bonnie grabs it and goes, "It popped out a hamburger meal with a drink and fries. What the? Who made this?" "You can touch them," goes Bonnie as her eyes go full hearts as she's grabbing her food. And then Chopper and Luffy are going, "They're real? It's so good!" as they start eating all this food. And then the robot goes, "Press the next button. Steak, omelet rice, fried pork cutlet, cotton candy, cake, ramen, fried chicken, hot dog." And then the robot goes, "I'm glad you liked my automated cooking machine. As long as there's enough food material, I can provide 500 different meals to the user, each in under a minute. The whip-up leftovers mode is the best mode, but only if you make it exactly to the plans. There aren't enough technicians to mass-produce them, though." And then the robot is going, and she's getting mad and upset as she's getting angrier, and then she goes, "It makes me so mad!" And she punches the hologram. She punches the hologram. Same thing with the island AC. Controlling the temps means being able to sense the life patterns of every living thing on the island. Spend a little more money and we could control the weather. The world doesn't have enough tech or funding. It punched the hologram? And then Luffy and the rest of them are just going ecstatic over all the different foods that are dropping down here. It punched the hologram? That's right. With these light pressure gloves, you can do more than just observe the light. And then it shows another person showing up. Yeah, it shows another person showing up. Yeah, it shows a hologram showing up. Hi! The moment people can touch something, they'll believe it's the real matter. And then Luffy's looking as he's stuffing his face with pizza and everything else. Huh? You mean that lady's not real? And then the robot goes, "Whether it's real or not, it's for you to decide. If you ask me, those words are a relic of a bygone age." And then Jinbei is eating along with the rest of Luffy and company as he goes, "So, who are you then?" "Me? I'm nothing but a humble genius scientist for hire. Dr. Vegapunk." "What?" And then Jewelry Bonnie. And then we get the title, Dr. Vegapunk Atlas. So this is not the real Vegapunk either because it has the number 6 on her clothes. Just like we seen with Vegapunk Lilith earlier with the number 2, this is the number 6th body. Or 6th android or whatever. So, it actually makes sense that the real Dr. Vegapunk would have so many stewards on this island. Imagine running an entire island by yourself. It could get stressful. So why not build a whole bunch of androids to help mitigate the workload on one individual person? We'll talk more after this chapter is over. I know I'm getting excited, and I know it seems like I'm carrying on a lot longer, but there's just so much to unpack from these panels. Me? I'm nothing but a humble genius scientist for hire. Dr. Vegapunk. Dr. Vegapunk Atlas. And then Jewelry Bonnie is looking upset, going, "No way. What's this liar talking about?" And she looks upset because, she's upset about what Vegapunk did to her dad, Kuma. Whether or not he's actually her dad, or maybe familial in the same way that Whitebeard has his sons, remains to be seen. But then Chopper and Luffy almost choke on the food that they're eating as they both go, "You're Vegapunk? I know your name. Kobe said it." And then we cut to the new world on a world government ship. And it's Rob Lucci. Sum it up for me. What are we doing? All right, Lucci, listen up. And this is Kaku, who's also there with Stussy. CP0's on the move. All right, Lucci, listen up. There's only one Vegapunk. But he's such a genius, he doesn't have enough time to do everything. He's short-handed, you see? It just confirmed what I said. Oh my goodness. I was right. Oh, I was right! There's only one Vegapunk, but he's such a genius he doesn't have enough time to do everything. He's short-handed, you see. So he thought, why not make more hands? He split himself into 6 different people. In other words, these 6 satellites are all Dr. Vegapunk together. And because I don't believe in any of... And then... Wow, whoa! Whoa! Wait. So, wait. He split himself into 6 different people? So we get Dr. Vegapunk, and then we get Punk number 1, Good, Shaka. Then we get Punk number 2, Evil, Lilith. Then we get Punk number 3, Thinker, Edison. Then we get Punk number 4, Wisdom, Pythagoras. And then we get Punk number 5, Violence, Atlas. And then lastly, Punk number 6, Greed, York. So you mean to tell me that Dr. Vegapunk split up his personalities into 6 individual androids? They're all Vegapunk, but also not Vegapunk. In other words, these 6 satellites are all Dr. Vegapunk together. And then Lucci goes, and because I don't believe in any of this nonsense, I'm the crazy one? What a hassle a so-called genius can be. So we're supposed to return this giant brat to Egghead, then eliminate all the Vegapunks. And then... Wait, what? What? So we're supposed to return this giant brat to Egghead, and then eliminate all the Vegapunks. And Kaku says, and be careful with his lab, it's full of valuable things. Cypher Pole, Aegis Zero, Kaku, Lucci, and Stussy. Masked killers. Now the thing is, they say, Lucci says we're supposed to return this giant brat to Egghead, and behind them is a Seraphim of Kuma. Vegapunk really did make child versions of the warlords into Seraphim. We've seen the Mihawk version. We've seen the Boa Hancock version. The next one is Kuma. Whether or not he has the powers of like the Paw fruit, I don't know. But this is the next Seraphim that we see. And then, but Kaku says, and be careful with his lab, it's full of valuable things. And then Lucci says, they want us to eliminate the most useful man in the world. And does this have anything to do with what happened in Lelusia the other day? And then Stussy goes, the last thing a man as keenly perceptive as you should be doing is looking for answers. And then Kaku just goes, exactly. Don't drag us into your trouble, Lucci. To be continued. The world government is coming to kill Vegapunk. Their most valuable asset, and they're coming to kill him. Why? Why are they coming to kill Vegapunk? They valued this man so much that they refused to trade him over to Orochi when they were dealing with him. Now the world government wants to eliminate Vegapunk. All the Vegapunks. All the androids and Vegapunk himself. Why? He just gave them new He's outlived his usefulness. He gave the world government the deterrent for warlords and the pirates. They no longer have anything pirate affiliated towards them. They no longer have any need for Vegapunk. They're coming to kill him. That's the end of the chapter. Excuse me? And you say, look at Kaku's mask. They specifically made his mask long enough to fit his extremely long nose. Okay. Wow. They come to try to kill him. I'm just speaking. I'm just speaking about, like, Oh, I thought I heard something in my room, but it was just the leaves outside. I thought something was sizzling outside in my room. But wow. So not only do we find out that my suspicions about Vegapunk not being the only person on the island, but he split himself up into multiple androids. And I was actually thinking the same thing you were, Tahiti. I was thinking of Father from Full Metal Alchemist, like how Father, the dwarf in the flask, split his emotions and his state of beings into different things that became lust and gluttony and pride and wrath and all these things. Vegapunk basically did the same thing to himself. Smartest man in the world, I would imagine that him splitting up his personalities into separate android robots would be nothing to him. But not only do we find that out, but apparently Bonnie is there to exact revenge on Vegapunk, because apparently Bartholomew Kuma, I keep saying Mu, Bartholomew Kuma is apparently her father. So that was a massive bombshell. Then we find out and we get confirmed that it's not actually the real Vegapunk. But like, wow. Let me just go through the comments you guys have said. Why is it late on Viz, manga, or anime for Bleach? Oh, the anime. I'm going to be reacting to the newest, the start of the 1,000-year blood war for Bleach. Good morning, Captain. Good to see you, D-Train. Good to see you, Ogata-san. Monet has returned. Either Monet has returned or Aokiji. We see a sea beast giraffe way back in Fishman Island when the Straw Hats first arrived, so it's possible that these mechanical ones might be the same creature, but it's been modified. Huge reveal. So it's safe to say that Bonnie was talking about Vegapunk when she said this is all his fault after Marineford. I would not be surprised. Well, that's one way to tick Luffy off. Don't mess with him about food. Replicators, I'd love to have that in my house. So would I. Never would have to worry about getting a wrong order again, like I did this morning. They left out my hash browns. Mom had to go get my fries from someplace else. But the 6 paths of punk. Kishimoto called and asked for his idea back. While speculation time, only one Vegapunk is going to survive this arc. Number 7, if I had to guess. Now, mind you, it only shows 6 Vegapunks. It only shows 6. So I don't know about that one, because there isn't a 7th one. 6 Paths is such a terrible take. 6 Paths was just puppets being controlled by one person. This is more like FMA and Father each doing their own thing. Exactly. That's what I agree with, Tahiti. Lucci on his way to Egghead Island. I smell a rematch on the horizon. Being wrong and pushing meme narratives is funny. Take a look at Kaku's mask. Wrong. Every chapter, more questions than answers. Whew. This chapter actually answers a decent number of long outstanding things for once. There are nothing. Izo took on 2 CP0 by himself and killed 1. Maybe Smoker versus Lucci. Man, wouldn't it be something for Lucci to see Luffy after all this time? But Luffy is far stronger than he was when they first had a matchup. I hope we get Stussy versus Robin. It's like, there's so many cool things that happened in this chapter. And I'm not going to keep you here any longer because I want to eat my breakfast before I continue with My Hero and the newest chapter of Jujutsu and then the Bleach episode after. But I take Stussy versus Nami. She didn't get a Wano fight, but Stussy is faster and stronger than Nami physically. Zeus would have to be faster than her for that fight to go on. But we don't even know how the matchups are going to be. We are literally the 2nd chapter into Egghead itself. We're literally 2 chapters in. So it's a bit too soon for us to be getting big matchups. But one thing, I don't think this is a everybody gets a fight arc, though. I don't think so either. I feel like this is a bigger exposition and explanation type arc because of the science that we're about to learn about. One thing to take note of is how extremely smart the Vegapunk Shaka is. Vegapunk number 1. Without even being there, this specific Vegapunk module is able to tell that Zoro and Robin are the biggest threats on the Straw Hat crew when the Lilith Vegapunk, when Vegapunk Lilith was trying to, rob them of money because science and development is mass expensive. So, but that one, the good one apparently, has been wanting to speak to them. Wants to actually has an interest in the Straw Hat crew. Matter of fact, if I go back, Vegapunk Shaka says, that's fine, bring them here. I happen to have an interest in that crew. So, Vegapunk number 1 is interested in the Straw Hat crew and can instantly see how dangerous they are and tells Lilith that you wouldn't even make it if they chose to fight you. So, and it's funny because Punk number 1, Shaka, is not the same as Punk number 5, Pythagoras, or is it Punk number 4, Pythagoras, which is technically the wisdom android. So it just makes me wonder. Luffy main characters Zoro and Robin both showcase this chapter, so it could be Luffy, Lucci, Zoro, Kaku, and Robin, Stussy. Oh wow, I forgot. 2 individuals are on this team that faced off against members of CP9 previously. Zoro and Luffy versus Kaku and Lucci. Jabra isn't here, so Sanji's not going to get his rematch. And Fukudo's not here, so he's not going to get his rematch against Frankie. And Kumadori isn't here, so no rematch between him and Chopper. And definitely no Caulifla here for Nami to get her rematch with her. Interesting. If we believe in all that foreshadowing, or could be no fights at all in CP0 versus Sword, this arc seems like a cross between Little Garden and Punk Hazard. It feels like that. This isn't a ginormous major arc in comparison to like Wano or Dressrosa. These are what I feel is like the intermediary arcs before we get the big major ones. But let's not overshadow the big things that happen in this chapter. 1, we find out that Vegapunk has split his personality into separate androids so that it can help him work throughout the entire island. 2, we find out that Bonnie is somehow related to Kuma, either through real blood-related father and daughter relationship, or father and daughter relationship to that comparable to Whitebeard and his sons. That, and now we have CP0 sailing to Egghead right now with a Seraphim of Kuma himself in tow to eliminate all of the Vegapunks. Vegapunk is no longer with the government. That's why he needs money, maybe. That's actually a really good point. Because wouldn't you have as much funding as you need if you were with the world government? Funds shouldn't be an issue if you're allied with the world government. But if Vegapunk is not a part of them anymore, the world government anymore, that would explain why he doesn't have the funding to do whatever he wants with the island. I expect Bonnie is Kuma's daughter the way Nami is Belmare's daughter, or Luffy is Ace's brother. Might not make her princess. Unless it's confirmed by blood, I bet on found family. Every arc needs a princess. Maybe. But until we actually get confirmation that Jewelry Bonnie is in fact the blood daughter of Bartholomew Kuma. I might as well just say Kuma. I need to stop trying to say Bartholomew because I can't even get it on the first try. Until we get confirmation that Bonnie is in fact Kuma's daughter, then we'll just call her found family relation. Remember, Blue Scarf told Lucci back in 1028 that Vegapunk's Devil Fruit wasn't a failure, and we still have no idea how old she actually is because we assumed that when she was in her Queen Connie form that may have been her true self, so it's still a mystery. Exactly. When you have an individual who's capable of changing their age at will, and then they say that they're related to someone, it's hard to see what relation they have with that person if they're able to change their age at will. So it just has so many more questions. And thankfully, we're not going on break. The next chapter is coming out on Sunday because it doesn't say we have 7 days to wait. We have 6 days. So the next chapter will be coming out on Sunday this time. So we're just going to have to wait and see what goes on from here. But man, Vegapunk split his personality to spread himself across. That doesn't sound right. Vegapunk split up his personality to make it so that he's able to run his entire island instead of it just being by himself. So it's quite unique. And we still have, Kuma, Seraphim versus Bonnie at some point. I don't know. Because these Seraphim have the abilities and unique physiology of a Lunarian, which gives them a very high and increased strength and durability. But we also don't know what else the Kuma Seraphim can do. We don't know at this point. At least not yet. Luffy versus Lucci might not happen. Remember what Brule said in Whole Cake, you can't reach an emperor that easily. I want other Straw Hats to handle Lucci. I prefer Sanji or Zoro to fight Lucci. I think it's going to be the whole crew versus one Seraphim matching Sabaody, just like they did when they first encountered Kuma the first time. But this time the Seraphim might be stronger. The Seraphim are far stronger than the pacifistas they faced back then, because these Seraphim are able to clash with Blackbeard. And they're enough of a threat for him to actually use armament hockey on himself to protect himself. That's how much of a threat they are. Be interesting to see if Seraphim are loyal to world government or Vegapunk, given the fact that he's the one, with the help of the SSG, the Super Scientist Group, developed this Seraphim. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a failsafe. I wouldn't be surprised. But we're going to have to find out later. In Enies lobby, Usopp said if Luffy wasn't going to fight Lucci, he'd step up. The Usopp only ever tells the truth. Eventually, we'll have to see. I feel like Usopp needs a big moment for himself. Nami needs a really big moment for himself. Her getting Zeus inside of her climate attack is not enough. I feel like she needs a big character moment where she's less scared. And the same for Usopp as well. I think he needs a bit of a moment where his courage increases and her courage increases, and maybe a moment where he actually starts to awaken his observation hockey just a little bit more. I'm just speculating, but there's a certain amount of Straw Hats that needs their own big pivotal moment that gives them that same type of moment that Sanji and Zoro and Luffy had and Robin had during the Wano arc. But it may be too soon. We'll just have to see. Let me not talk your ears off because my breakfast is still here, nice and hot, and I want to go ahead and eat it. So you guys just let me know what you thought of this chapter as a whole, and what do you think things are going to go? Where do you think things are going to go leading into the next chapter? Because the thought of the world government coming to silence and kill Vegapunk was not a thought that was not something I was thinking I was going to read today, or at any point actually, given how important he is. But now he's no longer important to the world government, that they've come to kill him. And even then, Lucci is questioning why they're coming to kill Vegapunk. Has it something to do with Lelouch? So does Vegapunk have something to do with what happened to the Lelouch Kingdom? Or at least some people would say, what Lelouch Kingdom? It never existed. But even Lucci is questioning. So much that Sutsy says, like, you know what will happen if you start asking questions or looking for answers. So, just a lot of things to think about. But I'm going to go ahead and eat my breakfast. Then I'll get started with My Hero Academia. Then afterwards, Jujutsu Kaisen. And then I'll do my reaction to the Return of Bleach. Oh, it's a good day. And then probably tomorrow, I'll start my Bayonetta playthrough stream series. And then we'll go through Bayonetta 2, leading into Bayonetta 3. So we'll see how that goes. I'll put an announcement in the community tabbing, let you guys all know the new things that are happening this week and for this month. I'll keep you all posted. But I'm done. The Straw Hats are stronger now. They can handle Lucci. They are called emperors. Luffy didn't need to do anything. Well, Luffy's called an emperor. The Straw Hats, however, not all of them are still up to snuff yet. But we'll have to see. I'm done. I gotta eat. So all I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member, because it all really does help. It helps me here on YouTube. All of this helps. Because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. Now it is time for the carnivores to eat meat.